Here we go.
We're in
We're here.
the episode everybody's been waiting for.
The one that nobody asked for but will get.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Are you living in a closet nowadays?
basically.
You're like Harry Potter.
I was just about to say I am Harry Potter.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are gonna do the Taylor Swift episode. We're gonna jump into it in a little bit here. Um, we do have some new music though, a little bit of news that I just heard
Oh,
today. I've been off Instagram for the last week, just like studying for school and stuff. So
right.
I don't know if this is like new news or if it's confirmed, but I heard Travis confirmed he's dropping Utopia next week,
Yep.
along with a movie
Yep.
in
I just saw that
theaters.
today. Yeah.
What is that all
Yeah.
about?
I have no idea. I'm on the same page as you. I just heard about that today when he
Right.
performed in Miami when he did what was it, Rolling Loud?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's where he announced it.
Yeah, so that's nuts. I didn't even like has there
Right.
been any promotion for that movie or anything?
No, I haven't seen anything. I think he released like a little teaser, but they didn't even think that anybody that I saw didn't think that it was for like a movie or anything. They just thought it was like they thought it was like a release for a build up for the trailer for the album.
Oh
So like
shoot.
some people like make a little trailer for the album,
Yeah.
and they thought that that was like the promotional trailer for the trailer, and then
Oh
he was just going
wow.
to drop an album trailer and then the album itself.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what it's going to be like. Like I feel like most music movies are pretty not great. Like I'm
Right.
just thinking back to being is that we just listened to Taylor Swift. Like she had that little 10-minute short film thing for All Too Well.
Oh,
I don't know if you ever saw Machine Gun Kelly's Downfalls High that he did for tickets. And then like G Easy did a movie for an album at one point, and they're really not that good unless it's in the context of like you're a fan of the album
right.
and you kind of just want like more story around it.
Huh.
So I don't know if that's what it's going to be for Travis or if he's going to try to do something like artistic or whatever, but
Right.
I guess we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. A legend.
Truly. He well, on the video I watched, he was like, "Well, I'll see y'all in Egypt if you can make it." I was like, "No one's going, dude. No."
No, dude, the whole world's going to be there. Have you seen the meme that's going around of Drake in like a mosh pit and he's like just mobbing and the caption is like my mom emailing me who sold the house and then it's like me in Egypt and Drake's just mobbing.
Classic.
Yeah, that's
That's
I mean,
comedy.
it'd be a sick concert, but
Yeah.
anyways,
Well,
I think that's all I got for news. Like, there's not
yeah.
really anything that blew me away that I saw.
Yeah. I mean, right now Barbie has outsold Oppenheimer by like over double.
Yeah, I did see that. I think that was predicted. A large portion of that, I think, is just how accessible Barbie is. Like,
Right.
you have people our age and older going to see it. You've got
Mm,
like people in high school that are down to see
right.
it, and then like obviously it's going to have a little bit. Well, not a little. It's going to have a lot more appeal to like a younger generation than Oppenheimer will.
Yeah, that's
Um,
valid.
but I did see that both of them surpassed box office like projections, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I
Like the
think it was
opening day for like fourth biggest opening week in box office history between the two movies. So
give me one sec. My front yard might be on fire. One sec.
yo, what? Um, I don't know how much of this is going to stay in the podcast. Jaden thinks his front yard is on fire right now. Um, yeah, we're probably going to cut all this out, but that's wild, and we'll probably just use this little clip of me talking nonsense to nobody for bloopers or some stuff. Um, it's great to be here on the podcast. Um, I'm excited to talk about Taylor Swift. I think this has really opened my eyes and changed my perspective on how I view the world. Um, I think she's a true visionary. Um, I don't know how much of that's true, but I'm just saying things that are going to fill this time. Oh, he's back. Is it on fire?
We're good.
Oh, okay.
I just got a text from my girlfriend and she was like, "Hey, something's burning by your house. Is your yard on fire?" Also, I just found a dead pigeon on my doorstep. Something's going on, and
You're
I
living out you're living out Insidious, dude. Like,
I basically am.
dude, I don't want to sound like a pansy, but I've legit had like multiple nights of nightmares since I saw that movie.
What
And
the?
it's not even like I was really that scared watching the movie. I don't know why. My brain's just spazzing about it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, anyways,
Yeah, so
now
we're
that you're
good.
back,
We're
your
good.
house isn't on fire. We're
No,
cool. Um,
we're fine.
let's jump into this new music. Couple songs that we wanted to talk about and hit on before we jump into our more lengthy discussion of Taylor Swift.
Right.
And we're going to postpone talking about Secret Invasion until next week when the finale comes out. We'll just hit those last two episodes then.
Right.
So, all right. Speaking of Travis Scott,
Hmm.
dropped the song K-pop.
Yep.
The one that has been kind of secretly been promoted as he's been teasing collaborations with Bad Bunny and The Weeknd. Came out together on the same song. Did you check this one out this
Yeah,
week?
it was pretty good. I liked the vibe of it.
Yeah, it was super just island vibe,
Yeah.
uh, cool song. Honestly, the first time I listened to it, I was not impressed at all. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if like my sound system that I was listening to it on was just not doing it justice or whatever, but it did sound very good to me. And I was like, well, that's kind of trash. And then I listened to it again and gave it a little bit of a different uh, chance just because I had kind of lower expectations, I think.
Right.
And I enjoyed it a lot the second time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a great Travis Scott song, and it's
Mhm.
not what I want Utopia to be. I think it's a great Bad Bunny song. It's like the
Yeah.
songs that I've heard from him that I love have this similar vibe, and I think The Weeknd and Travis just kind of accent that vibe of a great Bad Bunny song.
Right.
Um, if this is what Utopia is, it's just not really what I go to Travis for, what I think he excels at. I'm more interested in like this mysterious, foggy, psychedelic
Yeah.
trap kind of sound. And I'm hoping for something that incorporates that better in Utopia. But if it's featured on it, cool. It is kind of a fun vibe, but
Right.
yeah, it kind of left me with a questionable perspective on what I'm expecting from this
Yeah.
album next week now.
Yeah. Other than that, I did you listen to Mind Your Business?
Bro, I think Mind Your Business might be the worst song I've ever heard in my adult life.
I agree. When you were telling me like, hey, we should do like this amount of new songs just so that we could talk about Taylor, I was like, okay, like as I'm listening through, because I listened to quite a
Yeah,
bit, and I was like, I found two that I really liked, and then I was like, no, I have to bring up Mind Your Business because this is absolutely
right.
treacherous. It's one of yeah, like you said, one of the if not the worst song I've ever listened to in my entire life.
Yeah, honestly, like in Scream and Shout that they did together a while ago,
Yeah,
like I wouldn't say it's a great song, but I felt like it had a time and a place, and like I
yeah,
vibed with it when it came up in like
absolutely.
at like a party or something wherever I was at. But this was so bad, and I like Will I Am. I think Britney has great moments in her discography, but that was awful.
Yeah, no, that was a tragedy to say the least.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
just had to put that one out there because that was terrible.
Yeah, it was not the move
Okay,
for
I know
sure.
you said like two or three, but another one that I have to hate on. I oh it oh I hate Ice Spice more and more and more each day that like she's a
You
rapper because she put out a song called Deli, and I was like, well, I don't like her, but I
yeah.
gotta listen to it. There's a line in here,
Oh no.
and this is the reason I'm bringing it up. Hold on. Here it is. I'm the shiz. I'm that B. I'm Miss Poopy.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's
that's
one of the
questionable.
lines.
That's questionable for sure. I mean, there's been a lot of poop lines in rap,
Yeah,
and some of them are like hit kind of in a funny way. Like there's an Eminem line where he says, "Toilet's clogged. I'm talking a lot of crap, but I'm backing it all up."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
clogging the
yeah, yeah,
toilet.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's just so ridiculous that it's funny.
Right.
Miss Poopy's a little more questionable to me.
Why does she call herself Miss Poopy?
Doesn't J. Cole have a line like that too? I feel like J. Cole has a questionable line about poop as
Probably.
well.
I know Kodak Black has one.
Oh, dude,
He says
Kodak has some funny
he
lines.
says something like, I'm the shiz, I just farted or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness,
Yeah, but calling yourself Miss Poopy is just unreasonable.
that's a different level.
Yeah, that's stupid. Can't stand her.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. I also luckily like well not luckily I kind of just we kind of wanted to whittle down what new songs we were talking about because there was a good amount that came out this week that I
yeah,
listened to and a good amount that was decent, a good amount that I was just kind of about. But like
right.
really the songs that I wanted to talk about were ASAP Rocky's new track, Rowdy.
Mm,
Excuse me, Riot, Rowdy Piping.
mm,
Super good, super good. I like that one a lot. I think it's what I really come to ASAP for. It's got some cool vocal inflection moments, solid production that backs it up. And then he comes on for a good portion of it and is just really spitting and like rapping
right.
some solid bars and flows. Um, I wasn't the biggest fan of his last single, Same Problems. I just felt like
Mm,
sonically it didn't measure up to like my favorite tracks from him.
right.
But this song I felt like was more of a return to what I love from him, and I'm hoping that if he drops a project soon, I think he's said he's working on something.
Mm,
He's been dropping music, so I'm sure he's working on something. But I hope to get some more from that man of this caliber.
right. No, I agree. Um, one that I this was the first song that I listened to out of New Music Daily's list, and that was "Too Fast, Pull Over" by J Rock and Anderson .Paak. Um, Super fun song. Like it was
Yeah,
a great song. Like I was dancing like to it. It's got a perfect instrumental. I think everybody on that track kills it. Um, yeah, I think Anderson .Paak's vocals are probably my favorite off it, but J Rock kills his part. It all in all throughout is it's a great song.
agreed. I'm not the biggest Lotto fan either, but I think she complements the song pretty nicely
Yeah,
with her little feature on it as well.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that was solid. I feel like this one, along with a couple of other ones, even including K-pop, um, and this ASAP or not at this ASAP Rocky track. The next song that I had on my list, Passport Bros with Bass and J
Mm,
Cole. I felt like these all kind of just had this summery island vibe.
yeah,
Um, and I thought they were all fairly well executed. Like
yeah.
to me, I think this Passport Bros track was my favorite of that style.
Mm,
Um, I think honestly, anytime I think Bass is on his label, but anytime they get together and put out a track like this, I find myself really enjoying it.
right.
Um, whether that's the couple tracks that he was on the off season
Mm,
or the Revenge of the Dreamers 3. I also really like their track, the Jackie that they did together is just a
mm,
single. They have one on his last album together. Anyways, I just feel like they have a lot of great collabs that complement each other really well.
yeah,
Cole's feature run to me just keeps getting better, and I like at least consciously recognizing wise. I don't know that I've ever consciously recognized such a good feature run from an artist in my
yeah.
lifetime. And we've had some great ones. Like I think back to like Kendrick in 2016, 17, like
Hmm.
right after the Pimp a Butterfly era. Like he was just killing features, but I feel like Cole's been on that same style of wavelength for the past 2 years or whatever since the
Yeah.
off season dropped. He's just been killing it. So that was another one that I vibed with a lot.
Yeah. For that one, did J. Cole's vocals sound super soft to you?
Um, I'll have to re-listen to it. I don't remember
Because when I listened to it,
sounding it sounding like that. I do know. I mean, his cadence. No, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, no, the internet just jumbled a lot right
Did I
there.
glitch out?
Yeah, a little bit. Um,
Oh, you're good. You're
yeah,
good.
it just sounded like it was super quiet, and so I like the vibe was cool, but I didn't understand what they were saying. So I don't know if that was
Mm,
like a mixing error or like maybe I was stupid and my volume wasn't up. I don't know. So I'll have to listen back to it, but
yeah,
yeah, it sounded quiet.
yeah. It was. I mean, it wasn't like a very animated song, so like they definitely weren't like I don't know, like they didn't not bring the energy, but it
Yeah,
wasn't like a shouting at you kind of song. You know what I mean? So like
right.
I don't know if that plays into it or just whatever. I don't remember it being like too muffled though. So yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely worth another listen. I for
yeah,
sure think
definitely.
that like of that island hip hop style that I heard this week, I think that one was for sure the best. So
Yeah. Um, Charlie on a Friday must have watched our video or something because he dropped a single and I really liked it. It's called I'm Not Crazy. Um, not
yeah,
I mean it's nothing spectacular, but it's definitely a song I would come back to a lot. And after we said that he sounds a lot like the Kid Leroy, I heard a lot of the Kid Leroy. So
yeah, 100%. I think he definitely like that's his biggest weakness. I think he's pretty derivative of artists like the Kid Leroy, who honestly is pretty derivative of someone like Juice World, which I know we talked about.
yeah,
Um, but I do think this song, I mean, he interpolates the famous Matchbox 20 song, I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell, that whole thing. Um, but I don't mind it. I think it's just like a fun song.
yeah,
I'm not going to like praise it on being like this big groundbreaking
yeah. No, absolutely not.
moment at all. Um, but it's just a solid, fun, enjoyable song.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like
Uh,
we
the last
finally
one that I
got to.
did, oh,
Oh,
sorry.
my fault.
We're on a, we're on a delay here.
Yeah, we are. I was just gonna say, I'm glad we're finally getting to like a summer feel music. Like it feels later than it should have come out, but I'm glad we're at least getting that summertime music from a lot of different artists.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of brings me into this last track a little bit. The song "Hurts Me" by Tory Lanez and Trippie Redd,
Hmm.
featuring Yoko Gold. Um, Super fun track. I'm not the biggest Trippie Redd fan. I'm not the biggest Tory Lanez fan, but like their vocals are great on this track. It's again not a song that I would say is like this groundbreaking, excellent musical moment, but it's just a
Right.
fun track. They work well together. It sounds like vocally. Um, Yoko Gold isn't an artist that I'm familiar with,
Mhm.
but they sound great on it. Super cool. Kind of brings it all together with the hook. But yeah, so that was the last track that I had that I wanted to uh, shout out from this week. It's kind of like blends this little like pop hip hop alternative kind of feel together,
Right.
which I know is like the vibe that a lot of artists are doing. But it's a super enjoyable song.
Right. Yeah, I don't have any others to really acknowledge. Everything else that I kind of listened to was more or less mid. Like it was cool. Some of them a good one time listen.
Yeah,
Others are just like whatever. So like Gucci Mane.
right,
Gucci
for sure.
Mane's song was
Um,
ugh. That's it.
Shout out my man Gucci.
It's trash.
Uh, yeah. Anyways, for tracks that I've been listening to, there was just two that I have been coming back to that I haven't already shouted out before. Um, the first one was Jonah off of Kanye West's Donda record. Best
Mm,
performances individually that I've ever heard. Like it really introduced me to Vori's music. I was like, whoa, this guy sounds sick. Like
right.
super unique, cool vocals. Great way to take this beat. And then when Lil Durk started rapping, I was like, who is this? Like, what am I listening to? So I like once I saw that it was him on the song, I was like, what? And anyways, I think
Yeah.
it's one of his best features. Kanye gets a song together pretty well. Honestly, I feel like the best compliment to this Donda record, because I know a lot of people love it, a lot of people like think it's overrated. I think the biggest compliment to the record is how much Kanye got out of the featured artists on it. Like you have
Right.
artists like Lil Yachty who have like some artists in the industry have kind of co-signed him and like loved what he's done, and he's gotten that respect a lot more past couple years than he did when he first heard him on that song okay okay off of Don Dead. Moments like that where I'm like, these guys just came in here. Don Toliver on Moon, I know, was a song that we talked
Yeah.
about just a couple of days ago, where it's like Don Toliver drops some pretty solid stuff, and that was like, I'm just angelic what he did on the track
Literally.
Moon. So
Yeah.
anyways, I think that's a super, like, the best compliment that I can give to the Donda record. And then the other song was Niagara Falls off of Metro Boomin's Heroes and Villains record with Travis Scott and 21 Savage. And I just think, like, I know Travis' song, and I definitely for sure feel that chorus on the track. 21's verse is like just the wordplay and the lyricism
Yep.
on it, I think, is one of his better moments. And it's like these ridiculous one-liners that's like, can you say that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like the Michael Vick line.
Yeah.
Like it's
That's the
just
one I
it
was
hits, but it's
thinking.
like, can you say that? But anyways, that's the other song that I've been listening to. Both super super solid bangers.
Nice. Um, the two that I've been listening to, very different from one yours and very different from each other. But the first one is Fingers Crossed by Lauren Spencer Smith. Um, I don't know. It's honestly a song I come back to frequently. I think the lyrics are really good, especially for like one of those country heartbreak songs. It felt very different than all of the other ones. Very unique to its own. Um, Super cool song. I like it a lot. The other one that I come back to a lot, at least this week, is Shoop by Salt and Peppa. Um, I grew up on that old school hip hop, and so that's that's one of my favorite ones to listen to, especially at work, because work is boring, and so that song has brought a lot of bounce to my life. So
Had to give it a little spice in the day, right? A little salt and pepper.
that was
Ah!
super dope.
Oh my goodness. That
But
was
yeah,
that was that wasn't my finest moment.
no. But yeah, those are the two songs that I've been listening to quite a lot.
Cool, cool. Anything else you want to hit before we jump into this Taylor Swift segment?
Man, let's do it.
No,
I'm
we're
ready.
chilling. All right.
Real
So
quick, before we get
beforehand, we kind of
into
talked. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sorry. Um Before like we get down to the reason like why, well actually this is the reason why we chose Taylor Swift. So, a little bit ago we posted a video on YouTube about one of Taylor's songs and like how we were kind of feeling about her lately, and this is the comment that we received, and they say, well, that's y'all's baseless opinion, not according to critics, the fans, and general public. At the end of the day, Taylor Swift doesn't need validation from a random coward, ignorant, and a hater like y'all. Who really hurt you, boo? Are you okay? Someone need to pay your mother to love you? And so so when we were deciding on what to talk about, that comment
Of that
comes
Jake
into my
Gyllenhaal
head.
treatment.
um so we decided to go through her discography and figure out her high moments, her low moments, her strong and weak points, and see what we have to say and see if we can piss any
Yeah,
more Taylor Swift fans off. So
for sure. Yeah, I mean, that was I literally spent like the next 30 minutes after I read that comment, and I was like, how does one make that jump? Like, that's outrageous to go from I didn't really feel this song. It wasn't just her best moment to like your mother doesn't love you and that's why you didn't like it. That's wild to me. But here we are, man.
that's
But
crazy.
yeah, like you said, we kind of talked. I think we both picked out. We're gonna rank these albums. Obviously, I mean we kind of like mentioned that. But when we were going through each album, we picked out songs that we thought were the best from each project, the worst songs from each project, and like if we found a song that we thought was super underrated, and then just like any other notes. I think the best way to do this maybe is so that we don't kind of jump back and forth between albums too much. If you want to go through yours, like maybe start at the bottom and work your way up to what you think's are best, and then after you're done, I'll share my ranking.
Okay, and then we'll just go into depth after our rankings.
Well, I think if you want to go through each one, like we can kind of chat in between and just dive into all of it that you have, like her best, worst songs and all that.
Okay. Um, so I'm not gonna lie. I think I stopped choosing best worst songs after I got to Reputation and Newer. Um, so let's see, like the last one I started doing best and worst for, I have one notable thing on Midnight and one notable thing on Lover. That's it. Everything like yeah.
All right.
So the worst album that I've ever listened to in my entire life is Reputation. I've
Gosh.
never heard a worse album. To this day, I have not heard anything worse than Reputation. Tragic, terrible. Somebody needed to ask her if she was okay, but no, instead, they kept saying, yeah, post that one up next. That's all they were doing. She didn't get the help she needed at that time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah.
it's a tough listen. It is. And it's sad coming after such solid albums, I feel like before that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So then after that, I
Now that you've
have
collected yourself.
yeah, I bro, yes, I was on the phone with Jonah yesterday. He heard the uncalm version of it. That was me kind of a little bit better now, but
That wasn't the calm version.
yeah. So now that I'm a little bit more collected, those are my calm thoughts. Oh, okay. This delay is going to kill me and kill us. I think you froze. Oh no.
Oh, I just reconnected my internet. So hopefully we're back now.
Oh, fingers crossed. Your picture is frozen. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Oh, are we back? Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know
Oh,
what happened. I don't know what
okay.
happened.
There
We're
we
going
go.
though.
Well, hopefully that worked.
Yeah.
So wait, I'm just going all the way through, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So these next three, I all three of them can be interchanged to me. I just didn't care about any of them. So after Reputation from being the worst, I have Evermore. Um, I I didn't care for it. It was
Was
boring.
there well was it just like the like I don't know what made it fall so low for you? Because that one and Folklore pretty similar like lo-fi albums that she dropped. Was it
Yeah,
just like the
I
lack of some substance or
Yeah, and like I don't know what happened, but at some point in her career, she became super airy instead of so her first, I think it was 4 albums from Taylor Swift, Fearless, Red, and Speak Now, those four. She brought like solid vocals, and even like 1989, um, she was super good about being a really good diverse vocalist. But then out of nowhere, she had this super airy vocal that she just kept using and using. And I feel like that really showed in these three that I'm about to talk about, which is Evermore, Folklore, and Midnights. Like, do you have a couple tracks that like she stopped being airy for a little bit? But other than that, it's just I'm not huge on airy vocals. Like, I think some artists are really good at doing it, but it's very easily susceptible to being overused, and I don't like that. Like, you're Taylor Swift. I know what you can do, and I know how good your vocals should always be. Why are you minimalizing your talent? Like, that's not helping you in any way possible. Stop. So there's that. But yeah, so those are the next three. It's Evermore, Folklore, and Midnights. I feel like all of those albums are very, very similar to each other. Um, uh, oh, oh wait, was that in What is? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why I wrote that. So with Midnight, I said it was a Reputation Part 2. That's what it reminded me of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trash. And then there's a there's a song on there, so I did choose a worse one for Midnight, and that would be Vigilante Shiz. Because what the heck was that?
Hey, yeah. So, dude, honestly, the first part of that song, I feel like could have been one of her like best pop trap
Yeah,
R&B moments. Like this thing that she had been trying to do with Reputation and with a lot of Midnights. I was like, she's really onto something with this thing, and she didn't do anything with it.
nope.
It didn't go anywhere solid.
Yeah, no, trash. Like, I Oh, you have no idea. You kind of have an idea, but not really. I was so upset after getting to Reputation and on. I hated listening to music. I didn't want to hear another song for the rest of my life. It was it took out all enjoyment for me. Um like I wrote this little paragraph just so that I could share. Like, I wrote down my
Yeah.
thoughts in the time, and it was during the Evermore album. This is what I say. It is currently 9:18 a.m. on Saturday, July 22nd, and I'm listening to Taylor Swift's Evermore album. I'm on happiness right now. Dot dot dot. I've never felt the feeling and emotion of depression while listening to an artist before. I'm tired of her voice and her subpar songwriting, random corny lines. I just don't get where she went wrong. End quote.
Yeah. I love that these clips we're gonna clip them out of context and people are just gonna flame us and not like hear that like the reason that it's so
Yeah,
disappointing
literally.
is because we actually like a lot of her stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's because when she first started out, she had so much talent and everybody recognized that, everybody knew it. Like, what happened? Like, I understand there comes a point where like you don't want to stick to one genre and like one thing only. Like,
yeah,
and so she started experimenting with pop with the 1989 album. That's totally fine. But make it like good. Yeah, if that's an experiment and like you just kind of want to show off and make it as an experimental project, cool. I have no problem with that. But when you don't grow from that and you don't learn from your mistakes, and like what is bad you don't make better, then it becomes a problem. Because like Taylor Swift could be one of the greatest artists we know of.
right.
Like hands down. Like,
Yeah.
her name is on that same pedestal with Drake. Like, and I feel the exact same way about Drake. Like, there comes a point where you should be learning from what you aren't doing good and make them better in any aspect of music making. If you were done with country, totally fine. I get it. Like, it gets tiring sometimes doing just one genre of music for people. But you can always do better. So like, learn. But you didn't. Like,
Yeah.
that's why it's so upsetting listening to most of these albums. But yeah, people are still gonna get pissed, and I'm gonna be the one that uses the clickbait. It's I can't wait.
There you
Oh,
go.
so then after those four, we have I think Lover was next for me. Yeah, Lover was next. I only had one note. It just felt like another whatever album to me. But I did find one song that I actually enjoyed. I thought Death by a Thousand Cuts was super cool. Like I think it was a cool little experimental song. It didn't sound as bad as everything else. Like I actually enjoyed listening to that song. So that was yeah, I liked that one. Um After Lover, I put 1989. Um, let's see. And this is where I can actually start saying where the best, worst, and underrated songs are. Um, in some of these categories, I choose it's usually only one or two songs, just because I couldn't decide which one is more so.
Right.
I think the best song is Wildest Dream, with Ed Sheeran, right? He's on that one. Or no, what's the song he's
I don't
on?
think so. He's on a couple tracks with her. He's on Endgame, on Reputation, and he's on a song on Red.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about the one on
That
Red.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
super solid one too.
yeah. But I think Wildest Dreams was a good one. It didn't feel like super poppy like a lot of the other songs, but it didn't feel like her old country stuff. It was a cool little in
Yeah.
between. Um, I thought it was a solid song. The worst songs are her most popular ones. Both Shake It Off and Bad Blood are terrible. They are not good songs. I understand why they are radio songs because the only things that you could say are decent about the song are the instrumentals. The lyrics are trash. The flows trash. I hated both of them so very much. I hate what is it? Yeah, and Shake It Off. I hate her little dialogue part. Like, shut up. Shut up.
Hey, hey, hey.
When you've been down and out about the liars and the dirty, dirty cheats of the world, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Stick to singing. Shut up.
Yeah, that whole bridge, even after that, isn't very good at all.
Yeah. My ex-man brought his new girlfriend. Trash. Shut up. Shut up. Anyways,
Boy.
there were two underrated songs in my opinion. I think How You Get the Girl was really, really good, along with I think this was the last song on it, but Clean. Super cool. Like it didn't uh, it felt like another addicted song, not addicted, but like something that those who have an addictive problem, um certain aspects of the song could be relatable, and like it was kind of playing in the background. I wasn't really paying attention, but then towards the end it started talking about how I'm finally getting over it, but she wasn't necessarily talking about the relationship. It was just super vague. um
Yeah.
and so I went back and re-listened, and yeah, so super underrated. Okay. So that was 1989 for me. The next one that I have uh above that is Speak Now. Um with the best being I have two songs for this for the best category. I have Mine and Mean. Um I don't even really remember Mine, to be honest, like off the top of my head, don't really remember it. But Mean is a super nostalgic one for me. I remember when I was little, uh like my mom and my grandma, like this was always a song that was playing in the car. And so I don't know, super catchy, super fun, solid song. And I remember my grandma would always be like, "All right, guys, what have we learned?" We were like, "I don't know." She'd be like, "Don't be mean." So there's that. Shout out to grandma. Um, and then the worst songs, I have two for that one. Um, I should have wrote more notes into why I think they're the worst now that I don't remember any of it. Last Kiss and Long Live. Um, like I said, don't remember why I chose, but I did it for a reason, and the reason is because they weren't good. Um, and then underrated was Never Grow Up. I do remember that one. Super cool message. I feel like, well, I don't know. I know that my mom was always like, "Hey, don't try to grow up so fast. Like, live in the moment, live now." And then when you look back, when you get older, you're like, "Yeah, I wish I enjoyed a lot more of the now than trying to just grow up so fast." Um, so Oh, and then I also did like a little notable list for songs, just in case. So Sparks Fly is one of her most popular one. Super overrated. It's not that good of a song. So that's it. Just it was super overrated. Um
All right.
in my opinion, I didn't
Yeah.
find the appeal to that
Hey,
song.
it's individual to everybody, I guess, man. Whatever you're feeling.
um Above Speak Now. So now we're in the top 3 for my list. At number 3, I have Red. Um, Mainly because I feel like there's a lot of songs off of Red that um are played a lot even now. Um, with that being said, I think the best song is Stay, Stay, Stay. It's honestly one of my favorite songs by Taylor Swift. Honestly, I it's super vibey. I don't know. I think it's catchy. I think it's fun. I love that song a lot. That one's a great one
All
for
right.
me.
Oh man, we're I didn't think we were gonna disagree very much, but I'm gonna save my bullets till it's my turn. I respect your time on the podium here to speak.
About to come out here saying that's the worst one. I'm
Woo!
ready for it. I don't know. Growing up, that was like one of my favorites, and I listened to it again, and yeah, it's just super fun for me. Like that's that's quite it. Going into the song lyrically and everything, it's not the greatest, but song wise as a whole, and to my nostalgia, that's why it's the best one in my opinion. The worst one is The Last Time. Um, wasn't vibing with it. Uh, I have 2 underrated ones. Those being Everything Has Changed and Starlight. Both are really, really good in their own ways. Um, Notable. Red is overrated.
As a top three album too.
Yeah.
Woo! That's tough.
But I did say that right, and I put it as a right now when I was listening through all of them. But I said album as of right now the best instrumentally, and I do agree with that. I think instrumentally it had the most well developed instrumentally tracks. I think overall the sound of them, all of the the entire album was instrumentally probably her best work in my opinion. At number 2, I had Fearless. With the best songs being You Belong With Me and Love Song. Um, I don't know, classics.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the worst one was Hey Stefan, because it's not Steven, it's Stefan.
You don't
I don't
like
know
how
why.
she spelled it.
No, I don't like how she says it either.
In her
It's
defense, the only person that I've ever known of, like commonly named Stephen,
yeah,
is Stephen Curry.
right.
I've known a lot of people that say Steven and spell it like that, but I agree it's weird.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't like it. Yeah. Also, I don't know why, but it upsets me with how many different people she names or like has her song titles as. Like, I think there's one of like the name is Molly or something like that. It wasn't a terrible song, but nonetheless, stop naming your songs after these people. I don't know them, nor do I actually care to know them. Like,
Dude, I don't even know if most of them are real people. Like,
Yeah,
to be honest with
then
you,
that's even stupider. Yeah,
I know. I mean, we could just be out of the loop. Like, I don't really follow Taylor's life like that. So if she knows somebody named Steven and this is like a real personal song, then good for her and that's
right,
cool.
right, of
But
course.
like, I don't know Steven. For all I know, he's some random guy that like doesn't even exist. And so yeah, I'll get into that song
Yeah,
too. So you
yeah.
keep going.
Did not like that one at all. In fact, I think I was playing games again, but with this time the intent to mainly listen, and I was doing really bad playing games this time. But I remember pausing my game to actually listen because it I didn't like it that much. In my opinion, it was really bad that I had to pause the game and listen to how bad it was. Um the I have two underrated songs being Breathe and The Way I Loved You. Um I semi remember The Way I Loved You. Anyways, my favorite one was
In your defense, it's a lot of music and like
it's so much, dude.
we went through like 12 hours of music for this. Like, it's hard to remember all these
Yeah.
songs and get
Yeah.
through saying them quickly. So, like, if anybody's listening and like trying to flame us, like, you don't even care of the depth of this album, like, no, it's just 12 hours of music. We got our opinions and we're done. Like,
Yeah,
it was a
literally.
long time.
So, it was so much Taylor Swift, man. Oh, but my favorite, and I before saying all of this, I mean, I should have said this at the very beginning. Like music, it's funny that people get so upset at people with their own opinion because music is very opinionated. Like Tyler, the creator, had this perfect quote where he was basically saying like, why are we talking about the goat conversation in like rap or any kind of music? Like, why does that even mean anything? Because you might have certain feelings to a certain song that other people are gonna hate, but it's personal to you, and you had like these great memories associated with it. So like, who's to say that we're wrong or right about music? So like, flame us as you will. I don't care. I find it comical, but that being said, my favorite
Yeah.
album was her very first one, the Taylor Swift album. Like I think vocally it was some of her best work. Obviously, she got a lot better, but starting off with that album to me is incredible because a lot of people starting out with music don't sound that good. Um I mean there's probably a lot of uh things out there where you hear her when she starts out before this album gets released, and like maybe she's not as good as this album portrays when she first started or whatever it may be, but even then, like, for a first album, it was a great listen. I enjoyed it. My two best songs were Our Song and Picture to Burn. um Both I mean, obviously they're throwbacks because that album was years ago, but two great songs. um the one I didn't really like was Tied Together with a Smile, not even because it was a terrible song, but it just, I didn't vibe with it. Not my kind of song. The two I have two underrated songs. Oh yeah, it's not Molly, it was Mary that I was talking about. Underrated songs are Mary's song, which I actually did like and should have said no. um More upbeat tempo. And yeah, and I just, it was a good song. So that's my list, top to bottom. Hate me as you will.
Hey, fair enough, man. So I got some differing opinions here, my
Hey,
man. But
I'm ready.
I will preface it by like I mean we've said that we like there is Taylor Swift music that I enjoy a lot. Like, I think she has great moments in what she's really good at.
Right.
Um, I'll also stand firmly by my criticisms. She's not the best instrumental like artist out there. She doesn't make the most original instrumentals that like, just you've never heard before that stand out to you. Truthfully, like, she has some solid vocal moments, but she's not what we'd consider like a top tier vocalist, female or male. Like, she doesn't
Yeah.
have Adele, Ariana Grande, The Weekend moments. She doesn't have that. Um, her writing is fairly solid at times. Like I'll give her props on writing. I think she's a good songwriter for somebody who pretty much writes all of her songs. Like I don't recall any song. I know at the end of Apple, like when you're reading the lyrics, it like says who it was written by. I don't
Yeah.
ever recall seeing her name not being by one. So I'm like, whether or not she does write all of her own songs, I think she has pretty solid writing moments. But there's some corny lines, like some major corn dog lines in these albums.
Yeah.
Um, so like that being said, I don't think she's the best writer. I think what she is a lot like Drake, like you were saying, or like when Machine Gun Kelly's album came out, I equated it to a Wendy's 4 for $4 because like if you want to go out and enjoy like really expensive sushi or really expensive steak, there's a lot of people who don't like that and they don't appreciate or need the elegance or the fanciness of something to enjoy it.
Mhm.
A 4 for $4 is just cheap, it's easily accessible, it has things that pretty much everybody can stand by and say like, yeah, it's cool, like, I'm good with it, it's not bad, it's not great. And I feel like that's what a lot of artists like Taylor Swift and Drake are. They're just really accessible to very broad generations, of like wide variety of fan bases. And to me, I feel like that's why Taylor's such a big star,
Yeah.
in what she's doing right now, as opposed to like something that I feel like is more memorable, like you were talking about with a Red or whatever old album you might, you know, come across. I just feel like that's why I've seen that shift is she's turned to, like you were saying, this more airy, light, pop instrumental driven songs that I feel like are more accessible, but I don't think are necessarily better. Um, anyways, I'm gonna jump into this now.
Let's get it.
You can flame me as you will. The internet can flame me as they will. Uh, and I really feel like I'm gonna take some shots for this one.
It's okay.
I think the worst album to me was Lover.
Wow.
I really do. Um, and I just made some notes as to why. I think it's a cheaper, more bubblegum pop version of like 1989.
Mm.
I think 1989, was like you're saying, kind of her first step into pop. It wasn't super original, but I feel like Lover just kind of built off of that without really going anywhere. It was just kind of a lot of the same without any new direction. I would have liked more autobiographical experiences. She talks a lot about like facing sexism in the industry, and I don't doubt that she hasn't, but it's just like when she's saying, claiming a lot of things about feminism, it just would have been a much more intimate, fulfilling, powerful song if she had talked about it, like
Mm.
what she was saying, instead of just saying that it existed. Like,
Right.
and I get that people don't want to dig up all their stuff. Just for me, like hearing that experience is more powerful than just saying you had an experience. And so I feel like that would have been, a little bit better. An artist that does that really well is, Ray. I think her name is Raye. She just had an album come out a few months ago that was a lot like that, which I really loved and respected. It kind of comes across preachy sometimes without saying those kinds of things. Just like that she's kind of, I don't know, it feels like she's kind of putting herself up on a pedestal sometimes, um, without like saying, like how this has impacted her or what's been going on in her life to like make her feel the way she's feeling about situations. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
that's just kind of what I got out of that. And along with that, like there's a lot of like LGBTQ plus, sentiment in this album. And I don't think it's disingenuous because I do think that's like something she believes in and it stands for.
Right.
And it's the right message to send. I for sure stand by that. It felt kind of weird to like anoint yourself the leader of a group that you don't really represent. Like when she's talking about a lot about like gay rights or transgender rights, like as far as like, at least not openly, she's not openly clearly a part of that demographic. And so it felt weird to kind of like in this album anoint yourself like the leader of that
Yeah.
demographic.
Yeah.
I thought like someone like Kaylani or Halsey would have been like a better fit to do something like that. To like, I don't know, because I don't think there's anything wrong with standing for that. I just think the way she did it, it like felt weird to like like make
Yeah.
yourself the leader when you're not really somebody that's really had personal experience in that specific department, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, there's also some super mega awkward, cheesy writing moments. She really was out here quoting Humpty Dumpty in a song. all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put me together again. I that's that was too much. I couldn't do that. Um, I did manage to find the best song that I thought was pretty solid. To me, it was Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince. It reminded me a lot of something that like Lana Del Rey would do or Halsey would do. I think both of those artists have done what she was trying to do in this song better, but it was reminiscent of that sound, which I am pretty fond of musically. The most underrated song to me was Soon You'll Get Better, about her mother who had cancer, featuring the Dixie Chicks. Um, which I understand why it came out on this album in this time. I just would have loved to hear them do something together earlier in Taylor's career, and I understand why they didn't. I just grew up on the Dixie Chicks personally. Like that was one of my mom's favorite bands, and so like I listened to a ton of their music and loved a lot of it.
Right.
And I heard a lot of that in young Taylor Swift, and I just would have liked to hear another collab earlier with maybe some more, feature and balance. However, I think it's a very well executed song, very sentimental. The worst song to me was I Think He Knows, and it was really just because it was a pretty forgettable love song. There was some super awkward, cringy writing for me that like just didn't sit well. Um, but yeah, I also like I feel bad. I just don't think it's aged well because so much of this album is about her being in love with a guy that they've now broken up, and so kind of sits with me like the song "Him and I" by G. Halsey, where it's just like it was good, but it kind of has like that sour taste now just because of how situations ended. Um, anyway, so that was Lover for me, and then Reputation was next. The only reason it's higher is because I credit her for attempting to do something innovative and new. Um, despite how awful it was.
Yeah.
Like, despite that nothing was good about it. I will credit her for attempting that. I know she's
Right.
a big, huge hip hop head. Like, she loves a lot of that music. She loves Eminem. Obviously, she like features Future on it. Ed Sheeran, who's another big hip hop fan, despite those being that being a terrible track.
Yeah.
um, but so like I just give her credit for that. She's not the only artist that's done this either, like taking that drastic of a step and having it not be really well received. Like Lil Wayne with Rebirth did that. Lil Uzi even on the Pink Tape, despite it being so acclaimed, like it's pretty mid if we're talking metal albums.
Yeah.
And Machine Gun Kelly, like obviously a lot of critics didn't like Tickets to My Downfall. Um, I just feel like she bit off a little bit more than she could chew. Sonically, it sounded like a project that would suit Travis or Kid Cudi or The Wind or Kanye. Don't Blame Me was the best track that she attempted on this one. Most because it was the least cringy of all the ones. Look What You Made Me Do might be the worst song that's ever been written by humankind. It's right up there with whatever that Britney Spears Will I Am song was that we talked about. Like, I've already
Mind
forgotten
your
the name of it.
business.
Mind Your Business. Those two might be the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. Um,
You didn't like
however,
it? Look
no. Look
what
What
you've
You
made
Made Me
me
Do.
do. Look what you've made me do. Something, something. Look at what
Dude,
you've
and
made
then
me
when in the
do.
middle of the chorus, which yeah, in the middle of that chorus, when she goes from "Look what you made me do" and then follows it right up with "Look what you just made me do," I was like, "What am I listening to?" Holy
Isn't
crap!
that the one where she's like, um,
Um,
old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. She's dead. Is that one?
yeah, I don't know if it's that one. It's on that album, and it's
Yeah, that's
cringy
stupid
every
too.
time I hear it.
Yeah.
Um, the most underrated song to me was New Year's Day. Super underrated songwriting cut from her. I think she illustrates this line of being in love really, really well. Like, everyone's coming to this New Year's Eve party, having a blast, doing wild stuff. But I want to be here for New Year's Day with you, cleaning up all the crap that we did last night, like cleaning up all the party mess and whatever, just as much as I want to be in the party with you.
Mm.
And like just super beautiful songwriting thought. It was the most reserved cut. But yeah, I really like that one a lot. So after Reputation, I said the next best album, well, excuse me, the third worst album is probably the best way to put it at this point, was Midnight's. And like you said, to me, it's just a part two of Reputation. It's a more reserved attempt at Reputation. Like she didn't take those trap hip hop risks with this one.
Right.
It's really a solid idea for a concept album. Like when I saw her announce this, like these are the songs that I wrote about the topics that keep me up at midnight. Like
Mhm.
I think that's a solid idea for a concept album.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't think it amounted to really anything, and it just kind of furthered that airy bubblegum pop as opposed to something that I felt like she could have done better. There's some super corn dog writing on this song on this album. Um, it's an album that tries to rely on vocals for someone who isn't just the best vocalist. Um, and the reason it's really so low compared to some of these other ones for me is just that the hits and the best songs pale in comparison to her other best songs on other albums. I said the best song was Snow on the Beach featuring Lana Del Rey. It was just like a mellow, kind of easygoing song, which a lot of the album is. I just thought it was the most well executed of that style. Uh, the worst song by a landslide to me was Karma. And I didn't even listen to the Ice Spice version. I didn't even listen to that one. But just the regular Karma version was not good. This is like where this corn dog writing comes in. She really was out here saying things like Karma is my boyfriend, Karma is a cat purring in my lap. That's
Because
treacherous.
yeah,
Like,
because it likes me.
yeah, like,
Karma is my boyfriend.
yeah,
Karma
it was
is a
so bad. It
cat.
was, yeah. I don't know how. I really don't know. Like, just for the life of me, and if people love it, like that's cool. It's your cup of tea. But I don't know why it's so popular. I really don't. Um, the most underrated to me was Maroon. Um, I thought like building on the idea and concept. And I don't know why it wasn't on Red if maybe she just didn't have this idea back then. But like building on this idea of something being so red in your life that it's maroon. And she like compares a lot of relationships or whatever to that. I thought the songwriting was pretty good on that one, but all in all, I wasn't really thoroughly impressed with the album. Next was Folklore. I understand why you rated it pretty lowly, just without it having a whole lot of memorable moments. There wasn't a whole like it was pretty forgettable overall. There wasn't anything that really stood out. I just said it was pretty decent background music.
Yeah.
Like if you're just chilling or like doing whatever, like and it's playing in the background, you wouldn't be like, oh, what's this garbage? You know what I mean? Like it's fine. It has some solid songwriting moments. I honestly kind of appreciated the lo-fi mellow approach from her after coming off of albums like Lover and Reputation, just
Mhm.
because it was such a stark contrast, and hearing that kind of reserved approach sat with me a lot better. I said the best song was The One. The worst song to me was Exile with Bon Iver. And I just didn't think his vocals sat very well with it. And then the most underrated to me was The Lakes. I think that song doesn't get the love that it deserves comparatively. And after that, I said Evermore. It Where Folklore kind of fell short. It felt like Evermore stepped up just a little bit to me. It had more memorable, but it just lacked a lot of replay value compared to some of her best albums. The best song to me, and maybe one of her most underrated songs to me, is No Body, No Crime featuring Haim, uh, who's a female vocal group. And honestly, I think they have some of the most underrated vocals just out on the market because I don't really hear a lot from them. But every time I do hear them on a song, I'm always thoroughly impressed and enjoy the
Right.
song a lot. Um, I think the storytelling on this track was just super cool. Like this old kind of housewives tale style story of like, you know, a friend getting cheated on, and then like she hasn't had proof for it yet. and then the friend that's suspicious gets killed, but the cops don't have any proof, and then
Yeah.
like Taylor kind of implying like I killed the guy, and like
Yeah.
like I don't like obviously not a true story, right? But like just as a songwriting like idea, it kind of reminded me of like a Stan kind of song with by Eminem, where it's like not a true story at all, but the story still kind of encapsulates you as you're listening to it.
Right.
Um, the worst to me was Coney Island. I think it featured the National, and again, it just the vocals didn't match well with hers for me. But I think the most underrated song was the title track, which had Bon Iver on it again. And this is what I was just expecting from him on Folklore that I didn't get. I think his vocals are a lot better. It just suits the song better. It suits the style of song better. It meshes better with her. So yeah, that was Evermore. The next one for me was 1989. Um, the hits are there on this album, and the moments where the acoustics kind of come in, like you were saying, where it brings a little bit of that country style still, are great. I just wished that the slower songs had a little bit better pace. They felt a little off to me in their kind of delivery. It falls short on the fact that it's pretty derivative of a lot of pop. There's not a lot of originality in it. Um, with it being her first step in that direction, I was hopeful that it would have led somewhere a little more innovative, a little more suiting and fitting for her than where she's kind of gone in her career, at least to me. Um, there's a lot of reserved and yet poorly done experimentation on this album, like trying different styles and flows. Like they're all pretty reserved, but she just doesn't do them very well at
Yeah.
times. To me, far and away, the best track on this album was Wildest Dreams. I don't agree with the nature of the song. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think the
No.
message is great. I think that's kind of the point, though. Like, being in this situation doesn't, it's not really like a happy thing per se. And I feel like this song kind of captures that a little bit, where she's kind of describing this relationship as so fleeting. And even her tone and delivery is like saddened and yet like hopeful that like at least something good can come out of this experience. Like hopefully someone will look back fondly on the like life or on the memory made together. Um, I love how fleeting the song feels to match the story that she's portraying. Like
Yeah.
even the instrumental, like at times I found myself wishing like just slow the tempo down. Like don't be done with this like so quick. Slow your cadence down, extend the song out, make it a little softer and slower. But to me, it just adds to the feeling of it, like how rapid and fleeting this moment is just completely matched by the song. The synths that hit on the chorus are ever so slight in the background, and they're just immaculate to give it this little bit of 80s vibe behind that chorus. So anyways, I have a lot of praise for Wildest Dreams. The worst to me, again, like you said, Shake It Off. I get why it's popular. I don't like it at all. I think the message is fine for people that enjoy, that style of song. It wasn't very, very good. That's all I have to say about that. Underrated to me, I think you also said it, but How to Get the Girl was super underrated. Um, I just think it was one of her better pop cuts up to that point in her career. And honestly, like overall looking back, I think it still is. Uh, Next, I had Red after that. I think in terms of quality, the album's fine. It has some fresh pop infusion, like kind of a little bit leading her towards that pop path.
Mhm.
Um, just to me, this album was largely forgettable. I think the hits are there again. There's some solid moments, but like it doesn't lack the memorability of some of her other albums that I have ranked above this. To me, the best song, and it may be like derivative and people may disagree. I think I Knew You Were Trouble was super good. Just the like vocal inflections on the chorus, like that high to low back and forth that she does. I don't know. To me, it's just like I love that style that she incorporated. The worst song I thought by a landslide was Stay, Stay, Stay. And last time, I just don't think her vocals match the instrumental at all. I feel like she's offbeat. I feel like the writing isn't very well done. I don't know if I'm tripping or if you're tripping or if, people can just disagree on music. I guess that's fine too. Um, yeah, to me, those just weren't very good songs. Almost Do and Everything Has Changed. I think you said Everything Has Changed as well. Are two of the most underrated songs to me. I love Ed Sheeran's incorporation on Everything Has Changed. I think he matches a song like that really well, just that acoustic, soft ballad type of song. Above Red, I had Fearless, with the best song being You Belong With Me. Agreed with the worst song being Hey Steven. And it wasn't that the song vocally sounded bad or instrumentally was outrageous. Just to me, it like I don't know. I could be out of the loop on Taylor's life. I don't really follow her life like that. If Steven's someone personal that everybody knows and I'm just out of the loop, that's cool too. Um, it just felt like kind of a lazy songwriting tool to like, oh, I don't have a word that rhymes really well with this, or like to put in this chorus. So I'm just gonna use a name that rhymes with it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like I just didn't feel like it rhymed or like it fit very well songwriting wise. The most underrated to me was Breathe featuring Colby Calais. I think this one's just a super underrated track for both of them. I think they vocally blend really well together. I think the songwriting's solid. It's again just kind of a softer, slower acoustic touch to the album that I really enjoy. With this one, I felt like she took more risks than with her first album, being as that this is her second album. And this shows up a lot in the hits. Like it makes some of the best parts of the album, like You Belong With Me. I think that risk uh, pays off there, but sometimes it makes a lot more duds than the self-titled to me. It just results in like some not great experimentation. Um, and it also makes it a little bit less cohesive as a body of work. So I just didn't feel like it measured up quite as much, which leads me into the next album. The second best to me was self-titled. I think it's a brilliant step in originality for her to like just come out of the gate and put out an album like that. Um, this is really where all of, I mean, obviously it's her first album, so it's where her career like literally started, but figuratively too. I think it just set the stage for what we were going to get out of her as an artist going forward. You have some solid songwriting. There's these like immaturities in the album that are like equally matched with maturity that like feels beyond where someone at her age should be at that time. Um, and like those two kind of counterbalance each other to make like this, I don't know, just this feeling of like conflict and like wanting the world, but being at a point in your life where you can't do everything on your own. Um, I feel like I was going to say something else about that. Oh, I feel like this is what has allowed artists like Olivia Rodrigo to succeed so much. Like you have these kind of like angsty teen inflections where it's like she's kind of like talking sassy over the background of the track as like a verse is ending or about to begin or whatever. And you hear so many people like doing that now. And I just think she was really the pioneer to do that in the mainstream. Um, and it's allowed so many artists to kind of rip that off. And I guess like lawsuits have proven that. But it was just kind of the first step in originality for that style of music, like this kind of angsty teen pop, but also like such sensitive moments, which I felt like led to some of the best moments on the album, which to me was Teardrops on My Guitar. I felt like just the vocals, the writing, the instrumental, everything matched up. The worst track,
I don't know if you can hear me, but you froze really bad again. Um,
I feel like she of
Wait,
this
go.
song.
Wait. Start all. Start that over because you froze real
Sorry,
bad.
sorry. Where did I cut off at?
You were just about to say what the worst song is.
Okay, I said the worst song was Invisible,
Mm,
and I just think it was a little bit less good of a version of what she would do on her next album with You Belong with Me. Same
mm.
songwriting premise, same kind of bass instrumental, but then she just hit it so much better a year or however long later when she recorded You Belong with Me. So it just made that track a lot more forgettable. Just there was nothing memorable that stood out about it. I think the most underrated song was A Place in This World, which is kind of a softer acoustic ballad, but then fuses this kind of rock flair into the chorus that just makes for this super cool emotional ballad. Um, yeah, so to me that was self-titled. Um, Very impressive for like someone at her age and also for anyone putting out their first album. Like most of the time, if you go back, even listening through mixtapes or whatever from an artist, it takes them a minute to come into their own. And to jump out of the gate with this Taylor Swift album is super impressive to me.
Right.
I think she doesn't get enough credit for that with where she's at today, but that's just me. And then my personal choice for her best album, and it wasn't even close at all, uh, is Speak Now. I thought she just did everything. Oh, did I freeze again?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
um, Anyways, I think Speak Now, she just really did everything that she'd been trying to do up till this point on her first couple albums. The hits were there, the ballads were there, the fused some of that pop flair again, but like was also very country and just very original, staying in her own lane, but yet still taking original risks. To me, the best song on that project is "Story of Us." I just love the writing. It has a lot of nostalgia from when I was young and heard that song a lot. Um, I think you also said the worst song, which to me was "Last Kiss." Just yeah, it wasn't the move for me compared to the rest of it. And I think did you say the most underrated song was better than Revenge too, or did you say a different song
On Speak Now.
on Speak Now? Yeah,
Oh no, I said underrated was Never Grow Up.
that's right. That's right. I like that one too a lot. Better than Revenge, I think was a super good song. It's so like I don't know, like to use the word sassy sounds weird, but it's super like I don't know, just confrontational and like uncomfortable, like awkward, but like intentionally like uncomfortable and awkward, like roasting people and um like she has this line in the chorus that I think she changed it on the new one because she didn't like how it was sitting, but I thought it was hilarious where she's like talking about this person that her old boyfriend is dating now and she's like she's an actress but she's better known for the things she does on a mattress or whatever and she like changed it in her new album and I was like oh that line's so funny like it's such a good roast. um Anyways, that like line just cracks me up when I hear it. I think it's super funny to like I don't know the angst of like a young adult just not being like fully over a breakup and like
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love that songwriting on that one. So the last thing that I wanted to say about this album was a kind of weird listening experience I had with the song "Innocent." Um, I wasn't familiar with the story like going into it. Obviously, like I'm aware of the situation with Kanye and everything that happened at the VMAs. Um, Anyways, listening to the beginning of the song "Innocent," I was like, "Oh wow, this is like really cool, heartfelt writing." It's very relatable to a lot of people, like still growing up as you get older. Um, so I was kind of like, "Oh, this might be like one of my picks for most underrated songs because it's not a song I'm really familiar with, but like I'm enjoying it a lot." And like as it progressed, I was enjoying it so much that I was like, "Wow, this might be like one of the best songs. Like I might put this up there with just the best period on the album."
Right.
Um, so enjoying it as much as I was, I like at that point looked it up, like the song to get kind of more of the background and like read the lyrics and whatever. And that's when I kind of like found the story about how it was like written about the Kanye incident. And
Mhm.
I don't really like mind writing a song about the incident, or, multiple songs, or just, expressing yourself after or whatever, or not being okay. Like, I think how she felt about the situation is fine. And like, I agree with everything that she said in the song. I definitely think Kanye was in the wrong. Like, that's just not cool to, do
Yeah.
whatever when it's supposed to be someone's biggest moment, regardless of whether or not he's making a fair point about Beyonce or not. Um, but it just left like kind of this uncomfortable sour taste in my mouth. It reminded me of like, I don't know if you ever saw those videos, but like there's like these videos that I've seen of people where like the war in Ukraine was starting, and they're trying to like make a point about, I don't know, like some kind of psychological thing or whatever, where they're like, the reason that you're the way you are is because you weren't loved as a child or whatever. And like, I've seen videos of people like saying, oh, if I was Putin's mother, he would have been so loved and this would never happen. And like, I've seen people like say that and like try to make that point about like people like Hitler too, like just
Yeah, that's
saying the
crazy.
most outrageous stuff, like, oh, if I was your mother, I would love you so much. And like, I don't know, the vibe of the song was just giving me that similar feeling of like, oh, you're still innocent to me, like. And I was like, I don't know. It just left this sour taste in my mouth. Like, Kanye's a grown man. He had a great mom. Like, Donda West, like everything that I've read about her seems cool. Um, he had like was living a pretty decent life at that point. He's got his own whatever issues. That's like 100% whatever. Just the writing of it that way, like, left a weird taste in my mouth. Like, oh, you're still so loved to me. Like, Kanye's a grown man. He can deal with his own problems. And like, no, it wasn't okay what he did. You don't have to feel any type of way about it. If you're like over the situation, good for you. Like,
Right.
100%, awesome that you're taking it like in that way and just being mature about it and moving forward. Great. It just felt like a weird way to leave it. And so that took the song from like being the most underrated to me to then being like the best to then like having that really like weird bad like taste in my mouth after finishing it. And I was like, I don't know, it's just like middle of the pack now. Like, it's fine. I just don't know how I feel about it. Anyways, just kind of a weird listening experience that I wanted to share. But I am going to put you on the spot real quick because I didn't tell you this beforehand. If you had to pick out her best song, her worst song, and her most underrated song after like going through this, what would be your picks? Like, if you have just one, or if you have one or two, like, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Bro, you put me mega on the spot. I don't even remember half the albums at this point. Let's look at my list though. What I'll do is I'll take from what I have placed as
Right, right, right.
best worst, and yeah. So let me look through real quick. Um, the best's got to be Stay State. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I will say for some of these albums, the worst song is like better than her best on some of her other ones.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I think for best, in my opinion, and a lot of Taylor Swift, it's I take from like my own experience, not like my own experience, but like listening wise, like what I enjoy. Do I think it's probably the best to anyone else? Probably not, but like yeah,
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah. So I'll probably say um it's either gotta be what is it? Where is it? Where'd it go? I'm probably gonna say Our Song. That's a
Okay.
super big classic to me. Um
Yeah.
like that's a song I don't ever skip. It's a feel good song. Like I love the chorus. The writing about it is great, and it paints a very vivid picture in my mind. So I think in every aspect, it's like
Mhm.
just solid all the way around. So that'd probably be my
Yeah.
my favorite one out of her catalog. Worst, I might have to say, "Hey, Steven," just because that's stupid. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not when you have songs like "Look What You've Made Me Do" and "Shake It Off" and "Bad Blood." No, I think worse has probably got to be "Look What You've Made Me Do" or Vigilante Shiz. One of yeah, either one of those. Because Vigilante Shiz just pissed me off. Like I was so
Yeah.
upset listening to that song. And Look What You've Made Me Do is just the most obnoxious, annoying song I've listened to, especially in recent times.
Yeah.
Um, and it makes me upset when like there, because I still see some promotional videos where they use that song. Um, like I'm pretty sure it helped promote Sing 2, and it pissed me off.
Did it really?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh
Um, so yeah, there's that.
man.
And then most underrated. Um, I would probably say either it's either got to be Clean or Never Grow Up. Just because
Mm.
I
Good
like the
picks. Good
premise of
picks.
both of those songs a lot. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Respectable picks all the way around, I think. For me, if I had to pick a best, it's pretty close. Um, for different reasons, but I think You Belong With Me is fantastic and classic.
solid.
Honestly, also to me, Wildest Dreams is just one of her best to me. I think it's her best pop song. It's one of my just personal favorites of hers.
Right.
Um, worst song, it's got to be Look What You Made Me Do. It has to be. I just don't think there's another answer.
No.
Endgame on that album is also pretty bad with Future.
Yeah.
Karma's also pretty bad on Midnights to me, but I think Look What You Made Me Do just stands out in such a negative way
Yeah.
musically.
Yeah.
um, honestly, I have a lot of underrated songs for her because the songs that she's known for, I think a lot of times deserve a lot of credit, but she has a lot of cuts that I think deserve a lot more credit than they get.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly think New Year's Day off of Reputation is like one of her most underrated songs because of how bad the rest of the album is. I just think that song gets forgotten about. I just really vibe with that one going through it. And maybe it's just because the album was so bad that I got to the end song and I was like, hey, this one is pretty good. What the? That's wild. So it could be that one. I also think Soon You'll Get Better just as a songwriting cut. I think for her, the emotion that went into that song, writing a song about your mother who has cancer, um, is just a super vulnerable thing to do. I think it's super cool the way she pulled it off. Um, of that it should. So those are my three that I would pick. I could honestly go on though. I think the Ed Sheeran track on Red and the Kobe Calais track definitely don't get the respect that they deserve for how good
Right.
of, you know, slow acoustics they are. But anyways, yeah, those are my picks.
It always threw me off when I found Ed Sheeran on a song, just because I haven't listened to like all of those songs before. I like
Yeah.
we know my like what I've said before, how I've growing up I never listened to albums all the way through. And so I would just listen to like the popular ones or whatever. But so when I hear Ed Sheeran on those songs, I'm thinking of Don't, because isn't that one about Taylor Swift?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's what I've heard. I heard that Don't
I,
is about Taylor Swift.
I'm not interesting.
But if it's not, but anyway,
Interesting. I'm
so
unfamiliar with that one. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, so every time I heard Ed Sheeran, I'm like,
Yeah.
didn't you do Ed Sheeran dirty? And yeah, so
I don't know. They just did a song on his last album together still. So like I know they're still super tight, but
maybe they're
I
cool
don't
and
know.
everything, but I could be
Yeah,
100%
interesting.
wrong, but
Who
yeah.
knows? I
Everybody
mean,
else.
yeah, for some reason the world knows everything about Taylor Swift, and I just don't have a desire to be in that category.
I don't either.
Um, Honestly though, like this was so good and bad for me as a fan of Taylor Swift because I went back and found songs that I had missed and like that I hadn't been listening to that I remember loving
Yeah.
that I'm just like, oh man, these are some great songs that I can't believe I forgot about these or that I wasn't listening to them still or whatever. And then like honestly, like I don't want to be disrespectful because I think she's earned stardom and whatever, right? And like I know being a music artist is crazy challenging. So like the fact that she's accomplished what she's accomplished is super cool. But just like I don't know, as a whole, it made me like appreciate her a little bit less as an artist. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like and it really just came down to the fact that I feel like she's decent at a lot of stuff, but there's other artists that excel in all of these categories that she's only decent in. Like even in like the category of female vocalists, like I don't think she has the vocals of an Ariana Grande. I don't think she has hard hitting production like a lot of Halsey records have. I don't think she has the originality and the moodiness that someone like Lana Del Rey has. I just all of these things like she's pretty decent at, and it was kind of sad for me to feel like she's not that good. But I understand why it makes her so accessible. Like she's kind of like just if you want to just dip your toe into like a new kind of genre, like she'd be an easy gateway into that. Like for whoever's interested in those kinds of musical genres that may not be a fan, she's kind of like the surface level, kind of like someone who may be interested in listening to rap, kind of dabbling in some Drake, who isn't the best lyrical rapper or the best singer, but he kind of does a lot of things really decently.
Right.
That's kind of just the vibe I got. So it was really good, but also really bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like and I still do. Like at the end of the day, I'll keep saying it. Like it's hard being an artist, especially for so long. And so, like you were saying, doing what she has done is an incredible feat. And like, I don't take away from that whatsoever. But yeah, like I don't like Taylor as much anymore because of how many songs there were throughout her catalog that were either not as good or pretty bad compared to all of her popular songs or her best songs. Like it's she she's not as great as what everybody's hyping her up to be. Like she obviously has her wrong. Like so she can do wrong. And if you want to disagree, then you're delusional, but that's okay. But like still I still have a lot of respect for Taylor. Um she is still a great artist. Just her career isn't as amazing as I once thought it was now. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, that wraps up Taylor Swift. You got any final thoughts on her?
retire. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, that's just about it. I'm just glad that we're done. I've listened to enough Taylor for a lifetime.
Yeah, and like I said, like I feel like there was highlights on most albums, like
Right.
songs that I enjoyed, but like it was really nice to finish that Midnight's album and jump into new music and hear
Yep.
a J. Cole verse and be
Yep.
like, "This isn't what I've been listening to for 12 hours. This is great."
Yeah, I agree. I was so excited typing in new music daily. Oh, it was a great feeling.
Oh man. Well,
But
I think that'll do it for our Taylor Swift episode.
hallelujah.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
we've got an exciting couple weeks coming up though. We've kind of talked loosely about a schedule. I think next week we're planning on doing a review of the new Austin record from Post Malone, which is going to come out um, that Friday. Utopia also coming out that day. We kind of talked and said it might be good to let that one marinate a little bit more. Both of us kind of feeling like Austin's going to be a little bit more straightforward
Yeah.
and Utopia might take a little bit more time to digest. And then after that, we've got a lot of movies that have come out, a lot of movies coming out. Barbie, Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, things that we're gonna do going forward in the future. There's a lot of stuff that's cool that's coming up.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh,
All
my
right.
butt hurts from
Well,
sitting in this chair for so long.
this was a long one.
Yeah, this is not a very comfy chair.
Yeah, the things that we do for our few listeners is just
I'm just glad it was this long because it could have been a lot shorter if my lawn was on fire.
yeah.
So
That's true. That's true. Oh man, hopefully it's still surviving. Check us out every Monday wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok. And we'll be coming to you this week with some highlights from this episode on socials, I'm sure.
yep.
Seeing who we can anger and who agrees with us, if anyone agrees with us, which I think is yet
no
to
one's
happen.
gonna
So
no one's gonna agree with us.
I think there's people out there. I just think the people who are normal people and don't hate like or don't think that Taylor Swift is a god, like I think they just don't care enough because they're not psychotic.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
agree.
I think they're out there and they support us. I just don't think they say anything because they're chill.
Yeah. I do the same. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. All
Anyway.
right. Well, we'll see you all next week for Austin. Post
Yeah.
Malone coming up.